What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Civilization 5 Deity Europe AI only battle. As promised, we're going to look at the info addicts now. Before we do, it has crashed once from me opening the info addicts, and then twice when I've tried to launch the game afterwards. So we may have some issues in the future, so just be prepared. I don't know why this game is crashing. There isn't any mods on that I'm aware have issues. Last time the issue was more that I think there was the Russia series used some slightly different ones and they just got mixed up or whatever, but even when I used the lists in the game it didn't work, so I don't know what happened there. But I did know the Novgorod mod was on for some reason, and I know that is broken. That does not work, so that was obviously on, and then they weren't in use but it was on, so I think that might have been the issue, but I don't know why it's breaking now. Might just be my computer's getting a bit old. I don't really know. The loading takes a lot of power. But yeah, hopefully when I've clicked it once and it did work when I started recording. Hopefully it works again. Yeah, it worked that time, so there we go. But yeah, we might just have to bin the info addicts until the end. I don't know. We'll see how bad it gets. I mean, there's only two more like looks anyway, 250 and 300 for the results. As long as I can get it to work once, it's not too much of an issue. But here we go. As long as the game itself doesn't break. And it's not really frozen before. It was the time after I'd used the info addicts, which was a bit weird, and it didn't work. But here we go. We'll have a look at them. It's going to really ruin my 5 turns an episode idea. Didn't think about that. Doesn't matter. We'll only do a couple of turns this episode. Population: Soviet Union leading the way, 40 million. Then it's Arabia and Russia, both with 38 million. Morocco, 34, the Huns with 31 million, then Austria, Assyria, Mercuria, Norway and Sweden fill out the top 10 on population. Crop yield: Soviet Union leads again, then the Huns, Arabia, Morocco and Austria, Russia, Norway, Assyria, Rome and Mercuria. So a few different ones, particularly towards the lower part. Production: Arabia leads the way, then Russia, Assyria, the Huns, Morocco, Norway, Mercuria, the Soviet Union, Austria and Spain. So interesting, the Soviets not winning that one. Maybe a bit more spread out than it first seemed. We'll ignore GMP and we'll do the net gold. Land area, so the biggest civ at the moment is Morocco, then Assyria, Arabia, the Huns, then the Soviets, Mercuria, Norway, Greece, Rome and Austria. Russia not even on that list. They're down there in 12th. Military manpower: Arabia leads the way, then Morocco, and those two are miles ahead of everyone else, then Russia, the Huns, Austria, the Soviet Union, Assyria, Norway, Portugal and Great Britain. Approval literally doesn't matter. Social policies: 26 for Arabia, 25 for the Soviet Union and France, 24 for the Garamantes and Morocco, 23 for Sweden, the Goths and Switzerland, and then 22 for Russia, the Huns, Portugal. Some of the leaders there. Happiness, just check, it's negative for the Huns and Assyria, so I'm sure we'll see them slow down a bit. Well, Assyria, the Huns haven't actually done anything recently, so that's a bit scary for them. Sweden with 1, Mercuria 2, Spain 4. Okay, so they're struggling, but they're not dying. Who's last for tech? The Vandals, Carthage, Belgium, the Celts, Songhai. Some of the strugglers leading the way. Arabia up ahead on 64. Then it's the Soviet Union with 62. Austria 61. Morocco 61. Assyria 58, which is important to bear in mind because that means like some of these civs could have, in theory, probably have the technology for stuff like planes and other cool units. You know, Arabia's got like battleships and stuff. These might have the tech, but it might be more resources restricting them than technology, which is going to trigger more wars. Soviet Union v Russia, obviously probably a key example there, if the Soviets don't have similar units to Arabia yet. The Huns 58, Goths, Russia and Spain on 57, then Norway and Portugal 56 is the rest of the sort of top 10, 11. Net gold, which is gold per turn. Obviously GNP is just gold income, it doesn't include what you're spending on units. So in terms of sort of profitable civs, we've got Arabia massively leading the way. Then it's Switzerland making a fair bit of money per turn. Russia, the Soviets again. France, Assyria, Austria, Mercuria, the Goths and Spain. What's next? Cities. Assyria now has 17 leading the way. This has changed a lot. Norway, surprisingly, in second at 14. And it's Greece and the Huns both have 13. So this is not really linked to who's doing that well. I mean, they're all doing, obviously it's the better civs in this list, but the top 5 or top 4 are definitely not like the leaders so far based on what we've seen. Arabia have 12, the Soviet Union 11, and then there's 10 for Morocco, Mercuria, Russia, Rome and Austria. Science output: Arabia miles ahead. Oh wow, 300 ahead. And then it's the Soviet Union, Morocco, the Huns, Assyria, a huge drop off. I mean, even in the top 5, Assyria is making about half of what what Arabia's making, which is quite impressive. Austria, Russia, Norway, Rome, and Mercuria fill out that list. Culture, Switzerland, Morocco, Russia, France, Arabia, Austria, the Goths, Assyria, Norway, Soviet Union. It is very spread out. There is no clear winner here. Wonders, Arabia with 9, Belgium 4, Russia 3, Austria 3, 2 for the Garamantes, Armenia, Soviet Union, France, Britain, and Portugal to fill out the top 10. Treasury's not too important. I mean, we saw Arabia make the most money, but some of them spend it, some don't. Faith we'll look at separately in religion, so obviously it doesn't discount who has and doesn't have one. Switzerland somehow the most influential, so they're going to be fairly, scoring pretty well. I don't know how they've done that, but France with 2, Austria, Russia, Portugal all with 1. Great works. Mercuria lead the way with 15, then it's Assyria and Morocco with 14, hot on their tails. Switzerland with 12, France 11, the Huns and Soviet Union have 10, 9 for Sweden, Arabia, and Norway. Trade routes, Arabia currently 1 ahead of everyone else on 8. Then it's 7 for Sweden, Spain, Austria, Portugal, Morocco, everyone, down to the Soviet Union here. Okay, not everyone, sorry. France, the Huns, Norway, Assyria. Didn't realise 6 was so soon. I thought, missed that one. Thought they were all just 7s. Tourism, Morocco leads the way. Then it's the Soviet Union. Those are... I know which one would be my go-to holiday location of those two. Nice sunny Morocco, probably. I think it's quite cold in the parts of the map the Soviet Union owns in this series. And a war zone, obviously, at the moment. Switzerland, Arabia, Austria, Russia, France, Portugal, Assyria, and then 10th place is the Goths. So very spread out, no clear winners just yet. I don't think. Maybe if you actually look through it all, maybe Arabia or somebody is miles ahead, I don't know, but I don't think so. Right, here we go. Oh, the sort finally worked, Beautiful times this. Confucianism of Babylon. Obviously Babylon's gone, and the religion has died off. The smallest religion at the moment is Eastern Orthodox from Mercuria in Northeast Africa in 15 cities. Islam from Arabia is then in 21. 27 from Catholicism and the Celts. 30 for Hinduism from Egypt, who are dead, but that's managed to spread around. That's quite impressive. I thought Mercuria would have, got rid of that with Eastern Orthodox, but obviously not. And then Switzerland pretty dominant because they're just alone in Europe. All the rest are in Asia or the Middle East, Africa, and Britain. None in Central Europe. That's why Switzerland have done so well with Buddhism, which I think is like in Russia at this point. Yep, it's spreading very far. There we go. We're halfway through this episode, 8 minutes or so. So we'll probably just get 2 turns out of this one because it has been an Info Addict episode. That's fine. There's only a couple of those planned, so not really a big issue. But yeah, we'll get two or 3 turns depending on where the second turn finishes. So let's see how things go. But yeah, the big event obviously at the moment is this Soviet Union v Russia war. There could still be some cities on the chopping block here. We'll see. Both of them have plenty of units. I think they can put up a fight. Russia, it's actually their turn now. So we'll see how they do. They reconquer Novgorod and put in quite a few units. Oh wow. This is going to be one heck of a battle. It looks like the Soviets are running a bit thin now. I was going to be like, what do we see in the military manpower list? I just read out like 15 lists. I can't remember any of them. I can remember they have the most population. Like, that's about it. And they don't anymore anyway. But, well, maybe they do. I don't know. I thought Arabia overtook them. I don't know. Who knows? The info addicts really aren't that useful. Like, if there's a key stat you guys may be interested in relating to the Civ you want to win, then, you can pause it and see what it says. But yeah, overall, it doesn't mean that much when it's not that clear. I can't remember many of them at all already. I just read out a load of names, so obviously I can't remember them. Morocco just completed the Manhattan Project. I believe they are the second Civ. Did Arabia have one? Do I remember spotting one at the end of last episode? No, I don't think so. I think they just completed the Manhattan Project too. They don't have a nuke just yet. Another city just fell somewhere on the map, I'm pretty sure. I have no idea where though. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe when the Soviets go, Novgorod will fall again. But I feel like Russia may have done enough to hold on to it now. I'm not sure, but there's a good chance they have. Oh, don't freeze. Switzerland. Okay, no, it moved. Phew. It's like, no, not you, Switzerland. Of all the civs that break the game, don't be Switzerland. To be honest, it's not an issue if I know who it is. It's when I don't know which mod is breaking it, that's an issue. Like, if I know it's Switzerland, I can get the in-game editor up. Or, obviously, that's harsh on Switzerland. But, if I knew what civ it was, I can kill them. It would obviously leave a blank space in the map. Now, I wouldn't, probably, just leave that as a free-for-all, because obviously that's unfair. Some civs wouldn't get that. It's never happened, obviously, but if it did happen, I'd probably just mountain it off. Pretty similar to all the other regions on this map that I've cut off with mountains. I'll just do something like that to make it fair. Novgorod has fallen again. Yeah, there's no way they hold on to that, so Russia will be taking that back at least once more. I think this is going to end up as a stalemate. The only way the Soviets even hold on to this is if they manage to get a peace deal while it's in their control. That's like their sort of hope, I guess. But this is going to be a brutal conflict, definitely the biggest so far. Both of them now seeming very thinned out compared to where they start. There was no gaps in any of their territory before it begun. Now, that's not really the case. There's gaps popping up all over the place. Lots of units have perished already. Of course, a big civ who is in a bit of a, not a rebuild, but a regrouping phase, because they've been at war pretty much non-stop through this sort of second phase of the game, turn 100 to 196, is Austria. They were just constantly at war with somebody, but yeah, now they've got a chance, free of war, to rebuild. They're building up some destroyers, which is going to make them a very powerful civ. They're going to be a strong civ up here in the Baltic Sea all of a sudden. You know, Sweden, Norway, probably thought it was just between them. The Soviets are becoming more and more an emerging threat with their better technology, and now Austria's here as well. Annexed Copenhagen, so they are just pumping out destroyers from these cities. They have 5 already, and a submarine. That's great for them. And obviously the Soviets, pretty similar. Looks like it's a bit of an arms race between those two. But yeah, Sweden and Norway, they have more at the moment, but obviously these boats are old. Like a Galeas will just one shot, destroyers, done. Easy. So yeah, that's not a big concern for the major civs. I think unless Scandinavia gets united, Norway and Sweden, they may be, you know, they may like slip into 9th, 10th sort of place, but they're not going to be a top contender for this game. Assyria just conquered the final Ottoman city in Anatolia. They still have some units in the Black Sea, so they may grab it back a couple of times, but that just leaves them stranded on this small island of Crete. And I'm sure Greece might consider going after that at some point, just to connect their empire. Byzantium now has a very new neighbour, and probably a much scarier one than the Ottomans. The Ottomans were scary at one point, but now, yeah, for Byzantium, Assyria is much more terrifying. They have definitely just come out of their shell. I can't believe they just took everything. It was brutal. See, Arabia helped them early on, and I'm sure we'll see these two at some point go at it. I don't know if there'll be a clear winner. You kind of don't want there to be, because obviously if Arabia just steamrolls through Assyria, that's it, isn't it? We know who's won then. So yeah, hopefully it's a bit more of a close affair. Cities dropping, take some time, constantly. Obviously not a boring front line, but you know, something going on. Celts peace out with Belgium. They did not conquer anything. Is Britain going after the Celts again? I'm guessing so. Don't know when that started. Did I miss that? Maybe. Oh, and the Soviets peaced out with Russia, and there you go, yes. While they still held on to Novgorod, they must have held on to it for that turn, and then, yeah, just got a peace deal. So, you know, I mean, big war. They gain 1 city. I mean, that's better than nothing, right? It weakens Russia, adds strength to you. If you keep chipping away, you're going to get stronger. Other people will be fancying their chances now against Russia. Sure, well, the Goths are actually not in the best spot right now. They've been throwing a lot at Wallachia pretty ineffectively, but you know, Attila will be considering it, although I don't know what Attila's going to do. He needs to find a way to get to Armenia soon, because he is struggling. International games, Russia winning, then the Huns, then Norway, Arabia, Assyria, Greece, okay, almost everyone got a silver trophy, a few bronzes, and then a couple of people who didn't even bother, which makes sense. Even Assyria put in effort, and they were like, you know, full on war mode. So that's quite impressive. But that will be it for this episode. A little bit short, but we did the info addicts. We'll be back doing they'll be longer in future, because it'll be 5 turns an episode getting longer. So don't worry, it's all fine. I'm aware. When I said 5 turns an episode, I was like, that's a great idea. I didn't think of the info addicts, and I didn't want to just do a separate info addict video, because that just made no sense. So thank you so much for watching. As always, if you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like on the video, be sure to leave a comment down below, and maybe even subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.